The X-ray confirms our suspicion of pneumonia. We will begin treatment immediately.
All right, this is your prescription for the antibiotics. Take it twice a day with food.
Thank you, doctor. I appreciate your help.
Antibiotics have transformed modern medicine, saving millions of lives. But today, an alarming challenge threatens their effectiveness.
Why?
Why do some bacteria survive even our most powerful antibiotics?
Because the bacteria have evolved.
Welcome to the world of antimicrobial resistance. By the end of this lecture, you'll have a clear understanding of antimicrobial resistance.
First, we'll understand what antimicrobial resistance, or AMR, really means. Next, we'll see how bacteria become resistant to antibiotics.
We'll then explore the 6 major mechanisms of antibiotic resistance.
You'll also learn about important multi-drug resistant organisms, or MDR pathogens.
Finally, we'll discuss practical strategies to prevent antimicrobial resistance.
What exactly is antimicrobial resistance? It is the ability of bacteria to survive despite the presence of an antimicrobial agent. Most antibiotic-sensitive bacteria are killed. But a few resistant bacteria survive the treatment. These surviving bacteria multiply rapidly, producing a resistant population. Antibiotics do not create resistance. They select bacteria that are already resistant. Why is antimicrobial resistance such a serious global concern? The World Health Organization considers antimicrobial resistance one of the biggest threats to global health.
Patients often remain hospitalized for much longer because infections become difficult to treat. Longer treatment means higher healthcare costs for patients and hospitals.
As antibiotics lose their effectiveness, treatment may fail. In severe cases, antimicrobial resistance can lead to increased deaths worldwide. This is why antimicrobial resistance has become one of the greatest challenges facing modern medicine. The prevalence has increased exponentially in these regions. We are running out of options.
This is worse than we predicted. We need a breakthrough now.
Antibiotic resistance begins with a random genetic mutation in a few bacteria. When antibiotics are introduced, they create a selection pressure. Only the resistant bacteria survive the antibiotic treatment. The surviving resistant bacterium rapidly multiplies.
The screen illustrates antimicrobial resistance. As mutations occur and spread, the resistant bacteria rapidly multiply, ultimately dominating the population.
Now that we understand how resistance develops, let's explore the different ways bacteria outsmart antibiotics. Bacteria use 6 major mechanisms to resist antibiotics. First, bacteria can destroy or inactivate the antibiotic. Second, they can change the antibiotic's target. Third, bacteria can prevent the antibiotic from entering the cell. Fourth, they actively pump the antibiotic out. Fifth, bacteria bypass the blocked metabolic pathway.
Finally, bacteria protect themselves by forming biofilms.
Let's understand each of these mechanisms one by one. The first mechanism of antibiotic resistance is drug inactivation. Some bacteria produce enzymes that chemically destroy or modify antibiotics. Think of these enzymes as molecular scissors that destroy the antibiotic before it reaches its target. One of the best-known examples is lactamase. This enzyme breaks the lactam ring of penicillins and related antibiotics, rendering them inactive. Some bacteria modify aminoglycoside antibiotics by adding chemical groups such as acetyl, phosphate, or adenyl groups. The modified drug can no longer bind to the ribosome. Another example is chloramphenicol acetyltransferase, which adds an acetyl group to chloramphenicol. As a result, the antibiotic loses its ability to bind the bacterial ribosome. In all these examples, the outcome is the same. The antibiotic is chemically altered or destroyed before it can act on the bacterium. Let's begin with the most common mechanism of antibiotic resistance, V-lactamase production. Normally, penicillin reaches the bacterium and targets its cell wall synthesis. However, resistant bacteria produce the enzyme V-lactamase. The enzyme breaks open the O-lactam ring, destroying the antibiotic. Once the O-lactam ring is destroyed, the antibiotic can no longer kill the bacterium. Some bacteria produce even more powerful enzymes, such as extended-spectrum beta-lactamases, or ESBLs, and carbapennamases. The key point to remember is simple. V-lactamase destroys the antibiotic before it reaches its target.
Think of penicillin as a key trying to unlock the bacterial cell wall.
The second mechanism of antimicrobial resistance is alteration of the target site.
When bacteria change the structure of the target molecule, the antibiotic can no longer recognize or bind to it.
Methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, or MRSA, produces altered penicillin-binding proteins. As a result, stolactam antibiotics cannot bind effectively. Vancomycin normally binds to the D-allyl terminus of peptidoglycan precursors. Resistant bacteria replace it with D-allylac, preventing drug binding. Macrolide resistance occurs when bacteria methylate the 23S rRNA of the 50S ribosomal subunit, preventing antibiotic binding. Rifampicin resistance results from mutations in bacterial RNA polymerase, reducing the drug's binding affinity. Mutations in DNA gyrase prevent quinolone antibiotics from binding, allowing DNA replication to continue.
Although the targets are different, the principle is the same. The antibiotic cannot bind, so the bacterium survives.
Did you know antibiotics don't just attack the bacterial cell wall or ribosomes? Some antibiotics destroy the bacterial cell membrane. Others stop DNA replication. Metronidazole damages bacterial DNA. Sulfonamides and trimethoprim block folic acid synthesis through a sequential blockade. But how do these drugs selectively kill bacteria without harming our cells? Learn every mechanism with easy animations in Part 3. Let's understand how MRSA becomes resistant to penicillin and other half-lactam antibiotics. In a normal bacterium, penicillin easily binds to the penicillin-binding protein, or PBP, blocking cell wall synthesis.
In MRSA, the penicillin-binding protein is altered. Penicillin can no longer recognize or bind to it.
Without binding, cell wall synthesis continues, allowing MRSA to survive and multiply.
Remember this concept. The antibiotic has not changed. The bacterial target has changed.
Another classic example of target alteration is vancomycin resistance. Normally, vancomycin recognizes and binds to the D-ALA sequence during bacterial cell wall synthesis. Once bound, vancomycin blocks cell wall synthesis, preventing bacterial growth. In resistant bacteria, the terminal D-ALA is replaced by D-ALA-DLAC. This small change prevents vancomycin from binding to its target.
Without binding, cell wall synthesis continues, allowing the resistant bacterium to survive.
Just one small chemical change, from D-ALA to D-ALA-DLAC, is enough to make vancomycin ineffective.
Notice how the magnetic clip fails to attach to the modified hook. This illustrates the molecular mechanism of vancomycin resistance.
Another example of target alteration is macrolide resistance, commonly seen with erythromycin. Normally, erythromycin binds to the 23S rRNA of the 50S ribosomal subunit and blocks protein synthesis. Resistant bacteria methylate the 23S rRNA, changing the antibiotic binding site. As a result, erythromycin can no longer bind to the ribosome. Without antibiotic binding, protein synthesis continues, allowing the bacterium to survive. Remember, methylation of the 23S rRNA changes the ribosomal target, preventing erythromycin from binding. Imagine placing a small piece of tape over a keyhole. The key is still the same, but it can no longer fit properly. The third mechanism of antimicrobial resistance is reduced drug entry. Normally, antibiotics enter bacterial cells through membrane channels called porins. Resistant bacteria reduce or lose these porin channels.
Without enough porins, the antibiotic cannot enter the bacterial cell.
This mechanism contributes to resistance against antibiotics, such as tetracycline and fosfomycin.
The antibiotic is effective, but it never reaches its target because it cannot enter the bacterial cell. The fourth mechanism of antimicrobial resistance is the efflux pump. The antibiotic successfully enters the bacterial cell. But resistant bacteria possess special transport proteins called efflux pumps. The pump actively expels the antibiotic back outside the cell. As the antibiotic is continuously pumped out, its concentration inside the bacterium becomes too low to be effective.
Efflux pumps commonly contribute to resistance against tetracyclines and fluoroquinolones.
Remember, the antibiotic enters the cell, but it doesn't stay there long enough to work. Imagine trying to fill a bucket with water while there's a hole in the bottom. No matter how much water you pour in, it keeps leaking out. The fifth mechanism of antimicrobial resistance is the use of an alternative metabolic pathway. Normally, sulfonamides block folic acid synthesis, preventing bacteria from making DNA. Resistant bacteria overcome this block by producing a modified enzyme that is not affected by the drug. Similarly, resistance to trimethoprim occurs when bacteria produce an altered dihydrofolate reductase, or DHFR, that no longer binds the drug.
Because folic acid synthesis continues, the bacterium survives and keeps growing.
The drug blocks one pathway, But the bacterium finds another way to continue the same essential process. The sixth mechanism of antimicrobial resistance is biofilm formation. Initially, bacteria exist as free-floating cells, called planktonic bacteria. They attach to a surface and begin producing a sticky protective matrix, forming a biofilm. The biofilm acts like a protective shield, preventing antibiotics from reaching the bacteria inside. Protected inside the biofilm, bacteria survive and continue multiplying, leading to persistent infections. Biofilms are communities of bacteria that adhere to surfaces. Here we see them on a catheter, a hip implant, and as dental plaque.
Remember, biofilms protect bacteria from antibiotics and the immune system, making infections difficult to eliminate.
Think of a biofilm as a medieval fortress. The bacteria are safely protected inside thick walls. One of the most remarkable abilities of bacteria is their capacity to share genetic information. In conjugation, one bacterium transfers a resistance plasmid directly to another through a connecting pilus. In transformation, bacteria acquire resistance by taking up free DNA released from dead bacterial cells. In transduction, bacteriophages transfer resistance genes from one bacterium to another.
Together, conjugation, transformation, and transduction allow antibiotic resistance genes to spread rapidly through bacterial populations.
Now that we've learned how bacteria acquire and spread antibiotic resistance, the next question is, what happens when bacteria become resistant to multiple antibiotics at the same time? In Part 2, we'll explore multi-drug resistant organisms, combination therapy, and strategies to combat antimicrobial resistance. Stay tuned to this channel. If you like the content, like, share and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.